Once upon a time in midwinter, when the snowflakes were falling like feathers from the sky.
A queen sat sewing at her window. She pricked her finger, and 3 drops of blood fell onto the character in image 1.
She wished for a child as white as snow, as red as blood, and as black as ebony.
But the queen died. The king took a new wife, Regina. She was beautiful but proud and possessed a magic mirror. She would ask, "Mirror, mirror, on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?"
And the mirror would answer, "You, my queen, are the fairest of all."
But Snow White grew up and became 7 years old, as beautiful as the day and fairer.
One day the mirror replied, "Queen, you are beautiful, it is true, but Snow White is 1,000 times fairer than you."
Shocked and envious, the queen called a hunter and said, "Take the girl into the forest. I never want to see her again."
Oh, dear hunter, let me live. I will run into the wild forest.
Run away then, you poor child.
Snow White was all alone. She ran over sharp stones and through.
She ran until evening. Then she saw a little house and went inside to rest. Inside, everything was small but indescribably neat. There was a table with 7 little plates, 7. Hungry and tired, Snow ate a little from each plate and finally fell asleep in the 7th bed.
When it was dark, the masters of the house returned. They were the 7 dwarfs who dug for ore in the mountains.
They lit their 7 candles and saw that someone had been there.
Who has been sitting on my chair?
Asked the first.
The 7th dwarf looked at his bed and saw Snow White lying there asleep. He called the others.
In the morning, Snow woke up and was frightened, but the dwarfs were friendly. She told them her sad story.
They said, "If you will keep house for us, cook and wash, you may stay." Snow White agreed happily.
"Beware of your stepmother. Let no one in."
Back at the palace, the queen asked her mirror. It answered, "Snow White is still alive, over the mountains with the 7 dwarfs." The queen disguised herself as an old peddler woman and crossed the 7 mountains to the dwarf's house. She tricked Snow into buying a lace and tied it so tight that Snow lost her breath and fell down as if dead.
The dwarfs returned, saw Snow lying on the ground, cut the lace, and she began to breathe again.
Furiously, the queen made a poisoned comb and disguised herself again.
She went to the house and combed Snow's hair. The poison took effect immediately, and the girl fell down senseless.
The dwarfs came home, found the poisoned comb, and pulled it out. Snow White came to life again.
The queen trembled with rage. She went to a secret room and made a poisoned apple. One side was red, the other white. She disguised herself as a peasant woman and went to the dwarf's house for the 3rd time. Are you afraid of poison? Look, I will eat the white half, and you eat the red half.
Snow White took the poisoned half, but she had scarcely a bit in her mouth when she fell down dead.
White as snow, red as blood, black as ebony. This time the dwarfs cannot wake you.
At home, she asked her mirror, and at last it answered,
"You, my queen, are the fairest of all."
The dwarfs found Snow White lying on the ground. They tried everything, but she was dead.
They could not bury her in the dark earth. They had a transparent glass coffin made and placed her inside.
They put the coffin on the mountain. Birds and animals came to mourn for Snow White.
A prince came to the forest and saw the coffin on the mountain, with beautiful Snow White inside.
Let me have the coffin. I cannot live without seeing Snow White.
The dwarfs pitied him and gave it to him.
The prince's servants carried the coffin away. They stumbled over a tree root, and the poisoned apple piece was shaken out of her throat.
Snow White opened her eyes, lifted the lid, and sat up.
Oh, heavens!
The prince was full of joy and said, "Come with me to my father's castle and be my wife." Their wedding was held with great splendor. The wicked stepmother was also invited to the feast.
She asked the mirror one last time. It answered, "Queen, although you are of beauty rare, the young queen..." She went to the wedding and saw Snow White. She stood rooted to the spot with terror. Iron slippers had been heated over a fire. She had to dance in them until she dropped down dead.